Now on KGW News. A rushing river wipes out a road near the Oregon coast as flooding shuts down highways and city streets.
So I'm taking the long way around because the roads to work are full of water.
Plus, another mass shooting rocks a college campus, this time in Las Vegas. What we've learned tonight about the suspect's connection to the school and why the man accused of trying to bring down a plane over Oregon might be released from jail tomorrow.
He's happy to be able to come home.
Then later, the new addition to the Oregon Zoo that's not just adorable, but also very important to its species. Thanks for joining us for KGW News. Let's get right to team weather coverage tonight. Catherine Cook will give us a look at some remaining road closures. But first, we'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Matt, is the worst of the rain and the flooding over?
It is, China. The worst of it is over, but the rain isn't over. We still have more rain coming down in the metro area. It is 50 degrees. Sure you've noticed the cool down from where we were over the last couple of days in the 60s, even mid to upper 60s. So those days are over for now, for quite a while. In the rain, we had a good batch move through this evening, but it's now edging out across the Columbia River right now. So you folks in Clark County and Vancouver, you're still getting rain. To the south in Portland, not as much, but look, there's a whole bunch of showers along the coast. We've even had a few thunderstorms out there at times. So it is not going to completely dry out. But the heavy, steady rain that led to the rivers rising, the floods and the flood warnings, that's over. The river should be able to actually continue to recede and handle the incoming rain because it won't be as constant and as steady as what we went through. Look at these rainfall totals since the 1st of December. That was last Friday when the first of these 3 atmospheric rivers came on shore. June late, 20.5 inches of rain. That's on the south side of Mount St. Helens. The Bull Run watershed on the west side of Mountain Hood, nearly 16 inches of rain. The Coast Range, 15 inches. Dallas down by Monmouth, 6.5. In downtown Portland, we have nearly 6 inches of rain since last Friday and record rainfall today with over 1.5 inches. But now our attention turning to the mountains because, yes, it is snowing once again up in the Cascades. This is live from Timberline. It's 28. There's only been 1 inch new so far, but there is more on the way. Look at the passes. That's Government Camp, nothing doing there. But Santiam Pass getting hammered, Willamette Pass getting hammered with new snowfall, and that's going to continue tomorrow and on Friday and then taper off Saturday. More on the forecast for you. Still have rain to get through and the incredible records that we set over the last few days. China, all that in a bit. Back to you.
Matt, thank you. And areas along the coast saw the most flooding. We'll take you there in a moment. But first, we checked out some trouble spots around the Vancouver and Portland areas tonight where water was over the roads. Catherine Cook is in Washington County with a look at some closures to keep in mind. Catherine.
And some of those road closures won't be up for long. In fact, here behind me, you can see the signs, but the water is gone. We are at 149th and Division in Beaverton, where earlier today the roads were covered in high water, which has since receded. But other parts of the metro area might have to wait a little bit longer. Dusk in Clark County. A burgeoning Salmon Creek flowed swiftly by, hugging tree trunks and other things it shouldn't be touching. Swollen from days of heavy rain, the water rose up just before bridges and in some spots jumped its banks, like this part of Northeast 156th Street and 102nd Avenue. Barricades kept drivers out where high water covered the roadway. From Salmon Creek to Rock Creek in Washington County. Standing water covered this part of Rock Creek Boulevard. Barricades closed the road from Rock Creek Drive to Malheur Avenue. In southwest Portland, Peabot crews spent Wednesday morning clearing a landslide near OHSU that brought down mud and trees. Crews used a backhoe to remove 30 cubic yards of debris. They added temporary barriers and reopened the road just before 5. Back live, the question now is, when will some of those road closures go away in Clark County? Well, officials there tell us that right now they don't have a timeline. They say crews need to wait until the water recedes so that it's safe enough for them to go in and inspect roads and bridges to make that assessment. But in the meantime, they say, do not ignore those barricades. They're there for a reason. Back to you.
Catherine, thank you. And the series of storms has hit Tillamook County especially hard. This is the damage to one road completely ripped down the middle by rushing water. Closer to town, Highway 101 and Highway 6 are still closed tonight. Our Ashley Grams was in Tillamook earlier today talking with drivers.
If they say there's potential for high water, I believe there's a potential for high water.
Constant rain and high tides have flooded roadways across the Oregon coast. Drivers in Tillamook face a barrage of orange signs as water flows over the road.
Always between Rosenberg's and Fred Meyer's, that would be usually the worst.
I'm having to go to work, so I'm taking the long way around because the roads to work are full of water.
Highway 101 in Tillamook is still closed, but even with the high water and detour signs in place, some drivers are taking their chances, doing everything they can to get to their homes and businesses.
It is surprising because people don't realize that moving water can float your car.
This car serving as a reminder that floodwaters are often deeper than they look. But some areas are seeing even more significant damage.
Miami Foley Road is washed out. Landslides are happening.
This is Miami Foley Road around milepost 8. Public Works crews say this area won't be open to drivers for at least 2 more weeks.
His tent completely flooded over there.
For those who live outside and make their homes in tents, this weather threatens everything they own.
Half the night I spent trying to move things up. I had pallets stacked about 6 feet high with all my stuff that I couldn't get up the hill.
As the rain slows, it's a waiting game.
I'm just going to wait and see. And if it gets too much, I stay home.
As watches and warnings expire across the coast tonight, many are hoping that waters recede and they can go back to life as usual. Reporting in Tillamook, I'm Ashley Grams, KGW News.
We'll have more coverage of the weather impacts, including an update on a dramatic Coast Guard rescue, plus your full forecast. That's all still coming up. There's new information tonight on a mass shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus. The Associated Press found out the gunman who killed 3 people was a professor who tried to get a job at the school but wasn't hired. Denise Roche has more from UNLV.
Police are telling us tonight they do know the name of the suspect, but they are not releasing that information just yet until his next of kin are notified. We also learned that this shooting began on the 4th floor of Beam Hall on the campus of UNLV, moved to several other floors, and then ultimately ended up outside where it was 2 UNLV detectives who engaged the suspect and he was killed.
And if it hadn't been for the heroic actions of one of those police officers who responded, there could have been countless additional lives taken. Armed confrontation of the suspect by law enforcement stopped the suspect's further actions.
Unfortunately, 3 victims were also killed in this. A 4th person remains hospitalized here in Las Vegas. Tonight, the campus of UNLV will remain closed. We are told it should be closed at least through Friday as this investigation continues. In Las Vegas, I'm Denise Roche reporting.
To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines, Portland police shot and killed a man today. We've learned that they were going to investigate a report of someone stealing power from a business on Mark Street near the airport. There was some sort of a confrontation with a man near a line of parked RVs, and he was shot and killed. Investigators say there was a handgun on the ground near that man. They released a picture of it tonight. It's not clear if he pointed it at officers or at any point, but we'll keep working to get more information on that. A man was also shot and killed in southeast Portland this afternoon. This was by Southeast Main Street and Water Avenue near the Hawthorne Bridge. Officers searched the area, but they did not find a suspect. It happened by the East Bank Esplanade, a popular path along the Willamette River. It was closed during the investigation, but is back open tonight. And it looks like another Portland City Commissioner is throwing his hat into the mayor's race. Rene Gonzalez told the Oregonian that he will run for office next year. Considered a moderate among Portland politicians, Gonzalez told the Oregonian that Portlanders are tired of the negative effects of 10 years of ideologically driven policy. He joins Commissioner Mingus Mapps, who announced his candidacy in July. The off-duty pilot accused of trying to bring down an Alaska Airlines flight will be released from federal custody. And tomorrow, he'll ask a judge in state court for the same thing, to be released from jail while waiting trial. Joseph Emerson has been in custody since late October when he allegedly tried to shut down a plane's engines while riding in the cockpit off-duty. The flight from Everett to San Francisco made an emergency landing in Portland. 83 other passengers and crew were on board. He faces a count of reckless endangerment for each of them. Emerson was initially charged with attempted murder, but his defense argued that he didn't intend to hurt anyone. His wife spoke after learning the news today.
It's a hard hard situation for a lot of people, not just Joe, for the people that were on the airplane, for the pilots, for the flight attendants.
Emerson told police that he had been struggling with depression and had taken psychedelic mushrooms 2 days before the incident. As a condition of his pretrial release, a judge ordered Emerson not to board any aircraft or possess psychedelic mushrooms. He also is required to have a mental health evaluation. An Oregon man who booby-trapped his home and injured an FBI agent was sentenced to more than 12 years in prison today. It's a story that we've been following for 5 years now. This is a look at some of the obstacles police faced when they went to his home in the woods of Southern Oregon back in 2018. Gregory Rodvelt had lost the home in a lawsuit and set up multiple traps to try and stop people from coming on the property. That included a hot tub rigged to roll down the hill, as well as animal traps. Now, what hurt the FBI agent was a wheelchair attached to a shotgun. The agent was shot in the leg. Rodvelt was then convicted the past summer of assaulting a federal officer and using a firearm during a crime. He's been arrested for a series of prior incidents, including domestic abuse.